Here we come.
Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
And we welcome you into the PXG Custom Studios. You have never played like this before. Log on to pxg.com. We are live from Studio 2, our home away from home up here at NBC Sports. I'm hosting Golf Central this week. We're just outside of New York City. And this is our first chance to be with you in this forum since the Masters. And there's something about the Masters. I'm not sure if it's because we have to wait a torturous 9 months from the end of one major to the spring major, that is the Masters, that kicks it off on the men's side of the game. I'm not sure if it's because of the course, if the way that it is run, the way that it is presented, all of these things. I can't think of a better judge of this question and more than my first guest today, who I'm super excited about having on the show, a member of the World Golf Hall of Fame. Curtis Strange is my guest this morning, two-time major champion himself, back-to-back U.S. Opens. Can you think of a better person to talk to about the impact of stress? We'll get to that. He was a five-time member of the United States Ryder Cup team in 83, 85, 87, 89, 95 captain as well. 2002 United States Ryder Cup captain. In fact, 29 professional wins to his credit, 17 of those in the PGA Tour, 598 PGA Tour starts. 75 of those were top 5 finishes. Let that simmer for a second. 129 were top 10 finishes. 78 major championship starts and 12 top 10s, including the wins that I mentioned. Curtis, welcome back to the program. To that question that I was just asking the world, I'd love to get your feedback on it. What is it about the Masters that year after year continues to deliver?
Oh, gosh. I think everybody, you mentioned it a moment ago, but everybody looks so forward to it. We have to remember that everybody that watches us every year knows the golf course as well as we do. They know every break, every tree, every swirl in a piece of wind. They anticipate this. The players know that. The players, when they go in there, know about the history, tradition, the great play, the disasters on the backside. And we look forward to it, and the backside delivers every year, doesn't it? With the par fives, the 16, the par 3, and of course, Amen Corner. It's fun for us as who's been there for a long time to watch and see what really happens. And every year seems to be exciting and a little bit different.
What impresses you more, Curtis? A player that's in full flow and seemingly everything comes easy and they post a remarkable score, or a player who you know as a Hall of Famer yourself and a major champion that you know is not firing on all cylinders, but somehow they turn a 74 into a 68?
Both. I think the 74 and the 68 takes more guts, intestinal fortitude, the little battles that you have to win in your head every day, even when you're shooting 65. But when you're playing like Rory did on Sunday, it was going to be the hardest round of golf he's ever had because it meant so much to him, and he's playing such a explosive player in DeChambeau. But it was going to be the hardest round of golf because it was the hardest round of golf because of what he went through and how he played. He was exhausted after the round. Trust me. He was exhausted yesterday because of what he went through, the mental anguish, the physical toll it takes on you. And I don't mean to talk like I'm a linebacker for the Packers or a running back for the Commanders. I'm just talking about the toll it takes, 5.5 hours, but leading up to it, hours. He didn't sleep well the night before, leading up to it the entire week, the round itself. So it's I'm I'm extremely happy for him that he accomplished the Grand Slam, but it wasn't easy, was it?
Oh no, it certainly didn't, and it didn't appear to be easy either. The purging of emotions, that cathartic moment when Rory collapsed on the green, screaming and then trembling, I think it connected with a lot of people. Did you expect that level, that degree of emotion? Did that surprise you in any way, or was that perfect for the moment?
I think that's what we're just talking about, the emotion and the relief of all the buildup for, as he says, 11 years, but it's particularly that
Yeah.
day. Emotion manifests itself so many different ways. Uh, I've never gone through anything like that, but when you finally accomplish something that's really taken a toll on you and lasted for so long, you never know how you're going to react. You don't think about it. You try not to ever think about that and the win because you get ahead of yourself. But when it finally manifests itself, you never know. Uh, I thought it was tremendous. I thought it was perfect. How else could he show and just show himself that this was it? And this is absolutely the pinnacle of his career. I don't care what he goes on and does the rest of his life. This will be it because it's the Grand Slam, and it was perfect, wasn't it? It was absolutely perfect.
Curtis, in your golf swing, and there's a reason I'm asking you about this question, because I want to know if in the moments of intense pressure, and you faced them, do your faults in your golf swing come back to haunt you? And if so, what was it with your golf swing? Was there something that during those same moments of intense pressure that you had to say, well, I want to make sure XYZ doesn't happen?
Very good, and that's where the discipline, the practice, and the mental strength comes in because sometimes it does. It depends on how quickly you've eliminated that fault or whatever it might be, but you go back to your comfort zone. That's anytime you get under pressure, you go back to that. And your comfort zone is that swing that you're trying to eliminate. So you have to be disciplined. You have to be concentrating on, and people say you don't play with mechanics on the golf course. They never played high capacity golf. You think about golf swing during the round because you're always fighting something. If you're mindless out there, you're going to get in trouble. So uh, you want to go back, and you have to be disciplined not to allow it. In my swing, uh, I worked on the same things for so long. Uh, I didn't have that problem. I had other issues, not that. But when you hit one shot that emulates something that was terrible in the past, you have to correct, but you have to have the guts to do it. And around Augusta National with the 11 and 12 and 13 with the water, and then 15 with the water, there's places you don't want to miss. So that's what makes it so tough around Augusta National.
How much is a major championship win? How much is any win for that matter? A matter of just a fickle twist of fate. How much does luck play a part in every single win?
Well, you'd like to play well enough not to have that an issue at all, but that's not the game of golf in which we play. There's always some luck involved every time you go on the golf course. In a round like Rory, I think a couple things. The immediate thing is that he was fortunate that DeChambeau didn't play a good round of golf. I thought DeChambeau would break 70. I thought DeChambeau might go to 67 or 8, which means now Rory's got to play a little bit. He was fortunate that didn't happen. Uh, he seemed to get out of it what he should have the other day. Rory is a frustrating golfer in a lot of respects, and that Tiger spoiled us all. He played such good golf, other than some tee shots here and there, but he played so consistently. He never seemed to lose the lead if he had it. Uh, he put his thumb on your throat and always admitted that. That didn't happen on Sunday. Rory lost the lead on the first hole, came back at 4 at 5 admirably, lost it again, took to a 4-shot lead to the backside. You think, well, I've got it done. I'm home free. No, you're not. And you're never home free because you start to protect and those behind start to play aggressive golf. And as we've always seen, Amen Corner, 13 and 15, the reachable par fives. I can't put into words the effect that those two holes play on a 72-hole golf tournament over 4 days. And they always seem to elevate on Sunday.
When you won your 2 consecutive U.S. Opens, Curtis, I'm curious to this idea of stress, to this idea of pressure. When did you feel the most pressure? Trying to close the first time winning the U.S. Open, or trying to close at some point the second time and doing it back-to-back for the first time since Ben?
You know, there were 2 different animals, really. The first one, I had the lead most of the week, playing really well. And so it got to a point where it was expected almost within me. It was expected on the last 2 days, knowing full well I was playing Nick Faldo. So he wasn't going to give me much. I didn't think I was going to give him much, so it was going to be a good fight. The second one, I was behind. I had nothing to lose. I was 3 behind Tom Kite. I went out there with an attitude of no conservative type shots today, and it paid off. So it was, the first one is such enormous pressure because you haven't proved to yourself yet that you can actually get this done. You haven't proved to your colleagues. You haven't proved to the world that you think you're a better player than you are right now, and you only can do that by winning tournaments or winning majors. And so the first one was enormous pressure, especially going to an 18-hole playoff that's so magnified, every shot you hit. I think that's the only round of golf in my life that I never settled in and got comfortable. And it wasn't Nick. It was the golf course. It was for the U.S. Open. It was a windy day. It was everything was going to be so magnified, especially if you lost. So that was a tough round.
I suspect you already answered this question then when you talked about, hitting thousands and thousands and thousands of golf balls. But how do you perform when you can't feel your hands?
Oh, I never get like that. I think that what happened to me is that my rhythm seemed to get off a little bit. And I never had much problem at all with rhythm in my entire life because I had a long, slow swing. But when my rhythm got off, my hands were a little sweaty. How do you describe a feeling that you're really not comfortable with? And I remember the first tee in the playoff because it was the first tee, and it was because it was the start of the round. And, I actually made about a 4 or 5 footer for par on the first hole. And it's the grandest relief I don't know how it went in. I shook it in, but I don't know how it went in, but it went in. And so there's these things that we can laugh about now. They aren't funny at the time. You're fighting for everything you have to control this. And this is what you've trained for. This is what it was all about all those years dreaming about it. And so you do your best, and sometimes it's not good enough. I can't do anything if my opponent plays really well. So there's luck involved, as you said, but there's also the ability to control yourself, hit good shots, and make a few putts.
As you guys know at home, there's always an extra table at the Fairways of Life, and someone else is going to join our breakfast table today. Billy Kratzert, who, just like Curtis, was one of the voices that broadcast the Masters all around the world. Billy himself, a multiple-time winner on the PGA Tour. He, too, joining a roundtable to discuss all things Rory McIlroy, the Masters, and what it all means as the Fairways of Life show continues right after this.
Head down. Water down the left, bunker down the right. Take the club straight back.
Wandering minds. When golfers lose their focus, they're totally... But Bridgestone can help. Introducing Mindset. The ball scientifically designed to keep you focused. First, identify your target. Next, visualize your shot path.
And then focus on the green dot and smooth one.
Play the Tour B and E12 with Mindset technology.
See what happens when we work together? Stuff like that.
FlightScope Mevo Plus is the ultimate indoor and outdoor golf launch monitor and simulator. It gives you the club and ball data you need with the accuracy you demand. Mevo Plus comes with ownership of simulated golf courses for you to play and practice at home. Mevo Plus is an essential golf partner to help you improve and understand your game better. Put more purpose in your practice. To learn more and get your Mevo Plus, shop now at flightscope.com.
Innovation has been at the heart of every SuperStroke grip we've ever created, cementing our status as the #1 putting grip on tour. Now the best just got better. Introducing SuperStroke Synergy, our most advanced putting grips ever, for unmatched confidence to quiet your hands and your mind. Find the perfect grip for your game at superstrokeusa.com.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
Golf season is back, baby. Play the best rounds of your life with PXG.
I feel like dancing. I feel like dancing.
Visit PXG.com to see what we can do for your game.
I'm feeling groovy, so groovy.
PXG, you've never played like this before.
Stride by Zero Friction, the first of its kind personal caddy. Walk in comfort and style with Stride's remote and follow me technology. The Stride handles almost any terrain, and its 54-hole range will last all day. The lightweight design and removable front wheels makes it simple to handle. Plus, it easily fits golf carts. Pick up your Stride today at a local PGA Tour Superstore near you or at zerofriction.com/Stride. Stride, your personal caddy.
Welcome back to the Fairways of Life show. Log on to benhogangolf.com and see their amazing range of product that is sold directly to you. No middleman. They are your tour truck. You know, Jimmy Demerit was once asked if Ben Hogan spoke a lot during the round. Jimmy said, yeah, of course he does. He talks all the time. He says, you're away. We're joined right now by Billy Kratzert on the program. Billy, what's going on, my man? I know you were busy all week broadcasting the Masters as part of the dedicated coverage, which was excellent, incidentally. I loved what both of you guys did throughout the course of the week, bringing us so much of the coverage. So let me throw a broad net at you to start things out. What was your reaction to the Masters that just took place?
Well, I've just taken my fourth B12 shot because my energy was just absolutely exhausted, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so compelling, just the dichotomy of shots and situations that happened. But you saw the resilience. You saw the resilience of a Justin Rose who didn't get the job done on Saturday, but went out there and made 10 birdies on Sunday, pushed Rory to the limit. You saw Rory hit the fabulous iron shot on Sunday. He backed it up with the shot that he hit on Saturday on 15, the par 5. Matt, it was unbelievably good and compelling, and the viewership, the ratings showed it.
Yeah, I want to talk to you guys about the ratings in just a second too, but I wanted to ask you, Curtis, a question about the golf course itself. The second nine played about a stroke more difficult than the first. The question I have for you, though, is can you give us a perspective, can you give us an understanding of just how tough Augusta National was in 2025?
Friday afternoon made it really tough for the overall scoring average because of the wind. And the wind, what does the wind do? It wreaks havoc with the players. But it also dries out those greens very, very quickly. that were already getting drawn out. And I'm not being critical or at all. I love it. It's because it's their personality. I think Sunday afternoon, both Saturday and Sunday were hot, dry sun on those greens. In the afternoon they're going to be diabolical, and that's what when your nerves are on the edge of your fingertips. Fast greens are very, very tough. It's like the pitch over the bunker off a type lie. That's the shot you don't want when you're nervous. And these greens all day are like that. So it just became very difficult. Not unplayable at all, because look at Justin Rose. He got it done, and a few others got it done. But it wears on you. And as that Billy said, I just got to say, Billy said he was exhausted yesterday. I didn't get off the couch, Billy. I was exhausted. I had to drive home 9 hours. And I got to tell you, from listening to the round of golf on my phone all way home, it's exhausting to even listen to it, the ups and downs. But that's what everybody likes. Everybody in the world will want to edge of their seat, and it was terrific, as always.
Hey, Curtis, I can promise you when Rory hit it into the creek on 13, I'm glad you have autocorrect on your automobile, because I guarantee you kind of jiggled it a little bit.
Gents, to that point, Billy, let me start with you. I can. So much of this conversation already today and the discussion since the victory has been about stress, has been about nerves, has been about reaction and overcoming it. At what point, Billy, do you think that those nerves were the most acute for Rory? After the double bogey, or perhaps when he dunked it in the water at 13? How would you sort all that?
Well, you have a couple situations right off the bat. You start the final round out with a double bogey, so now all of a sudden you're back on your heels a little bit. And then, of course, you get to the 13th hole and have no idea what happened with that. But then once you lose the lead, Curtis made a great point. You go back to what you do naturally. And when he had to hit that massive hook around the trees into the 15th, then you kind of get back onto doing what you do with your golf game, and you go back to the natural shot. It's tough to do, but I thought once he hit the shot at 15, everything was very much in control, and I thought, from that point forward, he was going to go ahead and be the champion without the playoff. But the nerves, the acuteness of those nerves, it never stops until the job is done.
Yeah, Billy, I don't think he ever really settled in yesterday. It didn't look like, or Sunday didn't look like it. I agree. The first hole, that's your worst nightmare. 13 is a shot that, we don't see very often from professional players. And when it happens in that situation, it's nothing but nerves. And that makes you do things that you go, what's going on here? And there's panic that sets in. I actually think I agree with both of those 100%. But the second shot at 18 was shocking as well. And first of all, when you drive it that far, that's the advantage Rory has and a few others. He hits wedge into the 18th. What did Justin Rose hit, Billy K? 7-iron, 6-iron up there? So there's the difference in. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it was 8-iron, but okay. At least 3 clubs more.
I'm still betting on the guy with a sand wedge versus 8-iron. So, but and now he doesn't get it up and down. And I thought regrouping, and I thought what his caddy said to him going to the first playoff hole was absolutely ideal. He said to him that, would you have taken a playoff this past Monday morning for the Masters? He said, yes, I would. He said, okay, let's get it done. So but because he hit those shots, it just never looked like he really settled in and played Rory McIlroy golf.
Did you not think of, because of the Wake Forest connection, did you not think of Arnold right away when that happened?
Absolutely. Call in to CBS, bring up Arnold. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
All right, this conversation that we're having with a couple of legends will continue. And when we come back, I want to go down a road that might be a little bit controversial, meaning that there is a great deal of glory, rightfully so, being showered on Rory McIlroy right now. And there is a lot of discussion about where this accomplishment places him in the eyes of the game's history. So here's the question. Is Rory McIlroy now a top 10 all-time player? We'll weigh in with these two when we come back.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
At PXG, we believe you get more out of your golf clubs when you're custom fitted. This ensures that every PXG club in your bag is completely dialed in to deliver maximum performance for your swing. Golfers of every skill level should go through this process, and PXG's judgment-free fittings will make sure you're completely comfortable and satisfied. Book your fitting and see what we can do for your game. PXG, you've never played like this before, period.
Innovation has been at the heart of every Super Stroke grip we've ever created, cementing our status as the #1 putting grip on tour. Now the best just got better. Introducing Super Stroke Synergy, our most advanced putting grips ever, for unmatched confidence to quiet your hands and your mind. Find the perfect grip for your game at superstrokeusa.com.
What would your ultimate golf experience be like? Just you and a friend? Or would you round up some buddies for a foursome? Just one day? Or an entire week? There's a good chance your ultimate golf experience could be Michigan's magnificent 10. 10 incredible courses set among 3 remarkable resorts. See for yourself. Book your ultimate golf experience today.
Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. You know, Hub's Peanuts has been cooking up the top 1% of peanuts for over 70 years. And these aren't your average nut. These are super extra large Virginia peanuts cooked in the USA. Family-owned Hub's Peanuts have more protein than any other nuts. So whether it's a boost on the course or a special gift, the variety of flavors guarantees Hub's Peanuts is just what you need. Family-owned, nutritious, delicious, and sustainable. Hub's Peanuts, it's just right. HubsPeanuts.com.
When you choose Newton shafts, you're choosing more than a product. You're choosing innovation, pride, and excellence right here in America. We pay attention to the minutest of details, and you can feel that in the performance of our shafts.
As we welcome you back to the PXG Custom Studios, you have never played like this before. Log on to pxg.com. We're having breakfast with a couple of legends. So I got a question. Curtis, if I may, I want to jump in with you first, because both of you had careers that spanned.
I'm going to interrupt. The stuff in commercials is a whole lot better than what you're dealing with.
Yeah,
so
I got to tell you what.
Yeah.
That's a whole different show. That's a whole different show. But both of you guys had careers that were bridges from era to era. both of you came into the PGA Tour when the likes of, Arnold Palmer were still in full flight. Certainly, obviously, Jack Nicklaus and more, all the way up to the new players that were being introduced at the time that became legends themselves, and many of whom are in the World Golf Hall of Fame. So my question to you is, when you have a great of the great of the great that has accomplished the fame, the glory, the money, the wins, the majors, all of that, is it a gift when you can stay motivated, when you can stay focused, when you continue to strive for more?
Everybody has their own DNA in their makeup. At a younger age, you never think you're going to lose flexibility. You never think you're going to lose your motivation. You always love the game, and eventually you do. There's been a few outliers out there, and Hale Irwin and Bernard Langer, and I think even and he wouldn't agree to us, even Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer, especially Arnold. They played for a long time and played well for a long time. But I would say yes. It is a gift to stay in the game for many, many years.
Billy, do you think it's the same thing? I have a personal theory that how you handle pressure, how you handle stress, we make it seem as though it's about how you're coached or how you're raised or the hardships maybe that you have endured in your life. It was a narrative that really didn't work for the story of Jack Nicklaus when you looked at his family, where he came from, and all the rest. But that's why I have this feeling that it's about how you're hardwired in your body. I've seen linebackers that could literally run through a brick wall, and yet they can barely hold on to a golf club in a pro-am. So is there merit to that? Is there something to the best of the best that they too have a gift, and their gift might be just about how they're wired to be able to handle the crushing pressure of circumstance?
Well, I think you can look at a Justin Rose, you can look at Adam Scott, who are now in their 40s, and the continuance of what they do off the golf course, on the golf course, preparation. They know they have to do a little bit more. And in answer to your question, yeah. I've often said that players go in and out of confidence more than they do form. And you can always make a correction. But it's really difficult to make a correction with the way you think on the golf course and just how much clarity you have in high pressure situations. You have to put yourself there quite a bit, a lot. Curtis was able to do that. He put himself in that position to succeed many, many times. And to hear him say, making that 4-footer, my hands were sweaty, all the emotions going through. It's all to process how you go through that. And the great ones get it done. But yeah, there's a different wiring and a different. Everyone's competitive, but there's a different competitiveness among the greats.
So, Curtis, you heard me telling a little story about Jimmy Demaret saying, "Oh yeah, Ben spoke all the time on the golf course." He would say, "You're away." I know you two guys, and I know you were smiling when Bryson was asked about what he and Rory talked about, and Bryson said he didn't talk to me all day. Coming from a guy, Curtis, that was a multiple-time major champion, that you weren't known for being particularly chatty on the golf course either. What was your reaction when you heard that?
Nick Faldo and I, in the playoff for the U.S. Open, other than, I'm not so sure I said good luck. I said something like, have a good day. And he mumbled something, and that was the last until something on the 18th green. And that was exactly the way both of us wanted it. That's exactly the way it should have been played. Two highly competitive, focused people chatting about the wife and kids. It doesn't work. And this was, we talked. I don't mean, but in Rory's case, it was the highest most important day of his life so far in the game of golf, Sunday. It was going to be the hardest round of golf in his life. It's perfect. I can't fathom what Bryson is thinking about or talking about. And so if he wants to be chatty, that's fine. Go talk to his caddy and other players, but don't bring it on me, because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to say anything. I got hammered a few years ago when I saw two guys that play off at a tour event chatting going off the first tee. I don't want to do anything or say anything that's going to possibly make you more comfortable. That's the whole point.
Billy, how much did you and Seve enjoy chatting when you were playing together?
Well, there was a language barrier, which I was very much okay with. And so, you just kind of go through the round and he was a Masters champion. My hands were full. I didn't have a great day. We had an issue on the second hole, and then it from where it was, I thought maybe during the day it would go up, but then it went straight down. And but he was able to kind of regroup and play well. I did not, but I'm with Curtis. If you want to talk to the people, talk to the patrons along the way, that's fine. Bryson can do that. Lee Trevino, one release for him was, to talk. And he did a lot of talking, and he was very successful, winning 6 majors. So, but I think more and more you get a guy like a Nicklaus, a Tom Watson, Curtis Faldo. You just go down the line, and 90% of the time, you're going to get the situation that you got on Sunday with Bryson and Roy.
Yeah, I remember it was Tony Jacklin that told me the story, and I believe, if memory serves me, he was referencing the 1972 Open at Muirfield, and he was paired with Lee Trevino, as you might recall famously, and coming off the first tee, Mr. Trevino was doing what he did. He was talking away, and Tony Jacklin said to him, Lee, I really don't want to talk today, and I want to focus on my game. I really don't want to talk today. Lee Trevino said, you guys know the story. He said, well, you don't have to talk. You just have to listen. All right, so, gents, here's where I want to go now. I want you to take a look at this graphic that we put together, and this is based upon players, and many of these names you guys have already mentioned so far today, interestingly enough. But this is based upon players that have 5 or more major championships and at least 29 wins, because that's the number that Rory just achieved on the PGA Tour. When you look at that list, bear in mind it does not have Bobby Jones on it. He would have 7 majors as defined by, I call them major championships of this era, not including his British or U.S. amateurs. If those were included as majors at his time, he'd be at 13. But he's not even on this list. So you see Rory right now on the list is at 12th. Here's my question. Is Rory McIlroy, by virtue of being only one of 6 that have achieved a career Grand Slam, is he right now top 10 all time?
I'm counting down, Matt, on my fingers. When you look at, for instance, to qualify what I'm going to say, when you look at Tom Watson, you wouldn't put him in front of Tom Watson, even though Tom did not win the Grand Slam. He won 5 Opens for the total of 8 majors. So certainly Tom would be ahead of Rory in the top 10. And the ability to play the game the way Trevino played the game, who I think was the best ball striker that I ever saw. Byron Nelson winning 18 in 1 year. I think he's around 10th. He could be he'll be around 10th. These guys, that's a hard one, because Rory is he's in the prime of his career. So it's a bit unfair for Rory, but these guys on this list are pretty incredible.
Yeah, you look at this list, Curtis, and the name that stands out to me is Byron Nelson. He had a short career because he accomplished what he had wanted to, and then he just kind of said, I'm done with competitive golf. But I'm going to go ahead and say I would put Rory, in that 8, 9, or 10 slot, simply because he puts himself in a situation in big tournaments, big championships. He puts himself in a situation to win. Does he always come through? No, but he's always playing in the toughest field. He's always, seemingly there. And, as you kind of look to the future, multiple majors are certainly in that future. And I think now that he's accomplished this goal, I don't think there's any telling now that the pressure is on just how far he takes it.
That's a perfect place for me to pick this up. And Curtis, I'm going to direct it back to you because Billy pretty much just answered it for us, but I'm curious what your perspective is nonetheless. Rory McIlroy, from this point forward, you'd mentioned that he's in the prime of his career. What do you expect from Rory? Is 11 years drought broken? The curse has been dispensed now with the majors. What do you expect from him?
We've already talked about that a lot in the last day and a half. I actually think this is the pinnacle of his career, no matter what happens after this, because it was the Grand Slam, it was the Masters, it was after 11 years of carrying that burden to win the Slam. It's all up to Rory, Matt. And Billy, you're out there a whole lot more than I am. I'd be anxious to hear what you say, but I think he wins more. Absolutely, he wins more. But does he keep the fire in his belly, the drive, the determination? I think he does, but it's certainly a question and conversation. I think he goes on and wins more. Does he win 4 or 5 more? Well, who knows? But I will say this: he still has the talent, and if he still has a focus and determination and the work ethic, he will do well.
I actually think, Curtis, I think the energy increases with this win because you talk about, the magnitude of this win at the Masters and what it does. And up until this point, I want to say it was the Open Championship because that's one that he dearly wanted to win as a young boy. And so when you look at the Open Championship and you look at the Masters, of the 5 majors, you can put the other 3 right in the middle because those are the bookends right now, the Open Championship and the Masters. And I just happen to think that now that I've got this weight off of my shoulders and I've completed the Grand Slam, now I'm sitting on G waiting for the O. So let's go. And I think he wins more.
Yeah, I mean, when you guys look at the graphic that's on the screen right now, the PGA Championship is at Quail Hollow, where he's already won 4 times in the course of his career. The U.S. Open is at Oakmont, which is a driver's paradise, and then the Open returns to his backyard at Royal Portrush, where as a 16-year-old, he shot a 61 on that golf course. No, he didn't play well the last time the Open was there, the first time in 71 years. It was back on the island. Certainly, this is a different Rory McIlroy right now. So when we're having this conversation about future potential, Curtis, the future for Rory might just be 3.5 weeks down the road.
Yeah, that's a good question. Does he win one the rest of the year? How can you say no with the venues? He's playing well. And I like what Billy said. I really hadn't thought about it, but the burden lifted off of him. Now he's free to go play. I like that. And I think that's the way Rory plays his best, isn't it, Billy? Freedom, not encumbered with a lot of thoughts. And I think Rory sometimes gets too caught up in what's up here. It's not that complicated. And when you're as talented as he is, so talented, just be Rory McIlroy. Just go play. And I think everything will work out just fine for him.
I agree.
So, Billy, I want to ask you a question because, as I say to you all the time, you work for every single network that broadcasts golf. Every single one, including television and radio. So,
it's because he's so good.
He is that good. Yeah, I love working with Billy. In fact, my favorite thing with Billy is going out to dinner with him because he's really good at picking the wine, too. So my question, Billy, is this. The television ratings on CBS were record, 12.7 million average, over 19 million at their peak. The ratings on ESPN with Curtis and with Scott Van Pelt hosting were at a record level on Thursday and Friday. The ratings consistently are coming in better than last year, where last year the whole narrative was, what's wrong with golf? The ratings are going down. Now they're swinging the other way. I guess the easy question, I suspect it is very complicated, is what is going on? Why is 2025 on such an upswing?
Well, I think when you start looking at the urgency in the schedule this year, Matt and Curtis, that, okay, now all of a sudden you're seeing more guys of the upper level play a little bit more because, the opportunities, top 100, there's a lot of things that go into it. But I think, Matt, what we're seeing is the quality of golf that we anticipate. And we look at a Rory McIlroy. You win at one of the cathedrals of golf, Pebble Beach, now Augusta National, Scotty Scheffler. The interest after the injury and not getting the early start that he wanted to. JT's come close a couple of times. You start thinking about JT, 3-shot lead, exhausted, didn't win. Morikawa, 3-shot lead, exhausted, didn't win. You start looking at these leads and the volatility. It's just not a slam dunk anymore. It's pretty exciting when I start watching these guys under pressure and what they're doing. No lead is safe. So I think the fact that these guys are so good and they're so close, there's only maybe 3 or 4 of those top players that can separate themselves, but we have seen them go the other direction. So I think golf right now is so competitive. That's why the ratings are up.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Billy. But I think it's strictly determined by who's in the field and who's playing well. We are a society of watching superstars, the best teams, the best individuals, the best quarterback, whoever that is. So, and it's been a good year. It's been a good year for those guys to play well. I marvel at the ratings yesterday. It peaked at 19 and change from 7 to 7:30 on Sunday night. That's Tiger Woods, territory. So that was a good week. But I think it's momentum too, isn't it, Billy? I think this will build. Mm-hmm. The rest of the year will be good because of what will Rory do? Will Scotty come back? Can Justin Rose pull one off? That type stuff. The narrative is always there in so many different ways, which brings the viewer in. And I think golf is certainly in a better place than it was a couple of years ago. It's still not chaos free, but it's in a better place than it was a couple of years ago, and it's the viewership is there.
I love the way that Curtis just framed that when he said the narrative is always there, and that's why we love talking to these two legends. Gents, thank you very much for your time today. Fascinating insights. I wish we actually had more time, and I really wish that you guys could hear what happens during the commercials. But until next time, thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Curtis.
See you guys.
Thanks, Billy K.
Right.
Matt, good being with you.
I enjoyed it. Curtis, thank you so much. Thanks, Billy, too. We'll be back with more of the Fairways Live Show right after this.
I got ball fit in 2000, went on a little run. Then Bridgestone fit me again, and I went on another run. I just got fit again for the new Tour BX. The ball fitting's been helping me. Will it help you?
What does it take to be an original?
Cam knows something about that. So does Chi-Chi, Charlie, and you get it. In 1955, we stepped onto the scene. Now a new generation of pros are wearing the most iconic styles in the game. The fit, the feel, the look. It's all an expression of you. Original Penguin. Here for the good times.
Innovation has been at the heart of every SuperStroke grip we've ever created, cementing our status as the #1 putting grip on tour. Now the best just got better. Introducing SuperStroke Synergy, our most advanced putting grips ever, for unmatched confidence to quiet your hands and your mind. Find the perfect grip for your game at superstrokeusa.com.
At PXG, we believe you get more out of your golf clubs when you're custom fitted. This ensures that every PXG club in your bag is completely dialed in to deliver maximum performance for your swing. Golfers of every skill level should go through this process, and PXG's judgment-free fittings will make sure you're completely comfortable and satisfied. Book your fitting and see what we can do for your game. PXG, you've never played like this before, period.
FlightScope Mevo Plus is the ultimate indoor and outdoor golf launch monitor and simulator. It gives you the club and ball data you need with the accuracy you demand. Mevo Plus comes with ownership of simulated golf courses for you to play and practice at home. Mevo Plus is an essential golf partner to help you improve and understand your game better. Put more purpose in your practice. To learn more and get your Mevo Plus, shop now at flightscope.com.
When you choose Newton shafts, you're choosing more than a product. You're choosing innovation, pride, and excellence right here in America. We pay attention to the minutest of details, and you can feel that in the performance of our shafts.
Time now for our Did You Know segment. It's presented by FlightScope. Know your distance, know your data, know your capping. FlightScope's new i4 rangefinder with its personalized club recommendations makes it easy. Rory McIlroy won the career Grand Slam, but did you know that at the age of 35, he is not the oldest player to achieve this distinction? In 1953, when Ben Hogan won the Open at Carnoustie, he was the ripe old age of 40. Also of note, the only other player to complete the slam past the age of 30 was Gene Sarazen when he won the 1935 Masters. And for both Sarazen and Hogan, they would not add to their major championship haul after that. Do you think Rory will add to his? Luckily, there's still time for you to add to your win total at home with the new i4 rangefinder. Make it easy. Make it FlightScope. Go to flightscope.com. So I just got a message on social media where somebody said, hey, I saw your list. Andrew, put the list back up there of the guys where we had a criteria that was 5 or more major championships and 29 or more tour wins by virtue of the fact that Rory just got 29 and where he stands in the all-time list. And somebody said, well, what about Gary Player? 100% right. I even mentioned who wasn't also on there because they didn't hit the criteria, which was Bobby Jones, which is why the discussion and the debate of where Rory sits on that list is such an interesting one. Don, before we wrap up today, though, I am curious, what did you do for the question of the day? What are you hearing back from the people? And by the way, it was awesome having those two guys on.
I am speechless. We're so lucky. This isn't even a job. Will Rory McIlroy win another major championship this year? You heard Billy and Curtis talking about it. Yes, no, or I gave a third option, which is he's definitely going to win. He's going to win 1+, maybe win 2 more. Right now, it's coming back at 80. Maybe it's recency bias, Matt. 87% are saying unequivocally yes. He will win another major championship this year. Andrew, can you put the list back up of the venues for the rest of this year in 2025 with Portrush and Quail Hollow there? I mean, the people are saying it's going to happen, Matt. I don't know where you sit.
I do. First of all, I picked him to win the Masters because I was convinced that this was his time. He was coming in with key statistical categories as compared to even 1 year ago, which they were very good. but they were much, much better in 2025. And in particular, one of those categories was in putting. Even though some demons kind of reared their head at the Masters, he was able to overcome them. The fact that through a cruel twist of fate, that in regulation on 18, Rory had a putt from that soul-searching, vexing distance that has been his challenge throughout the course of his later career, and he missed it. But the putt that he made in the playoff, which looked a lot shorter than what it actually was, it was about 4 feet, was a brilliant putt. And that putt, because of the way it moved, reminded me a lot of the putts that he had at the U.S. Open. Now granted, one moved from right to left, the other was moving from left to right, but I'm talking about distance, I'm talking about moment, I'm talking about speed, I'm talking about importance, all the stuff that had to go into making that critical putt, which is why that putt at that time to secure his career Grand Slam was just part of why that scene, that moment, was so moving. And he spoke about that. So it was incredible. So that's the reason why I thought that Rory was going to play well coming into this Masters. But at Quail Hollow, as we discussed, he's already won there 4 times. That's a happy hunting ground for Rory McIlroy. The course is really well designed for him, that Tom Fazio designed and redesigned. When we talk about Oakmont seems like, I'm talking about total driving now as a stat, Oakmont seems like a perfect venue for Rory McIlroy. And then Royal Portrush, he had a 61 there at 16 years old. Yes, he didn't play well there, as I mentioned, at the last time that the Open was there in 2019. But this now is a Rory that's broken the major championship curse. This could be the time. There's a lot of potential for Rory McIlroy still in this season alone. Awesome show today, folks. Thank you so much for your company. Until we are together again, be well and goodbye for now.